Is Deceit a reasonable card to play in Legacy? Let's find out. Hello folks, Phil Gallagher, aka ThrabenU here for another Legacy video, and today Alan has asked me to try out a Deceit Reanimator deck. Now, Deceit is the blue-black version of the next line of elementals, and these ones are fixed in terms of things like scamming them, blinking them, reanimating them, whatever. So the formatting of all of these in this cycle is when the creature enters, if 2 colors was spent to cast it, do something. And when you blink it or you reanimate it, this is not going to be true. However, is the flexibility of these cards just strong enough that it's still worth playing them anyway? That's what we're going to be looking at today. So let's imagine that we hardcast this for 6 mana. We get a 5/5 body, which for 6 mana is not very good. Barrogoyf is at least that big, usually at 3 mana. But we can also bounce one on one other, importantly, target non-land permanent to its owner's hand, and have target opponent reveal their hand. I choose a non-land card from it, and that player discards that card. So that's kind of neat. That's a decent amount of value. And since this resolves in order, if your opponent is hellbent, you can bounce their thing and then make them discard it. Cool, neat. But more importantly for our purposes is that we can evoke this for 2 mana, and we're usually going to be spending black here. We can treat this as a discard spell that makes room for our reanimation spell either later that turn or the following turn. And even though we don't necessarily get the full value out of this creature, having something that can bounce a Grafdigger's Cage or take a counter spell and be a body to reanimate all at the same time is decent value. Real quick, I just want to show you what a normal Reanimator list might look like right now. Rudeslay is a relatively, there's a better word for this, relatively prominent Reanimator player. And this is their list from a recent Legacy challenge. So a couple different pivot plans available in the sideboard here, and some anti-fast combo like oops stuff. And this is what we're going to try today with Deceit in it. This is a list that I found on Rudeslay's Moxfield, which, hey, guess what? If you're looking for a place to store deck lists, Moxfield is the best. Guess what was very, very easy to find via a Google search? Moxfield links. Get on that website if you aren't already. And this is a markedly different looking Reanimator list. I added an extra Underground Sea to what was originally here to just make ever so slightly better use of Deceit's bounce ability for things like ley lines that we might run into. But this is neat. If you haven't seen Colossal Grave-Reaver before in action, it's kind of wild. So when it enters or attacks, you mill 3 cards, and whenever 1 or more creature cards are put into the graveyard from your library, you put 1 of them onto the battlefield. So this thing has the potential to go absolutely nuts just with its own ability, sometimes immediately giving you an Atraxa or a Grizzlebrand or whatever. And if we just hit a Deceit there and it's an additional 5/5 body, like cool, we're better against something like Swords to Plowshares. This version is also rocking Unmarked Grave as an Entomb replacement. It is significantly slower, so we'll see how that feels. And I think with that, I'm just going to hop directly into the magic here. If you find that you need some copies of Deceit or any other of these new elemental incarnations, and the red-green one is seeing a little bit of testing in lands, please consider getting them from my sponsor, toamagic.com. And when you do, use my promo code ThrabenU to save yourself a little bit on the order. I love these folks. They have treated me very, very well as a customer. And I sold them a bunch of cards at the last MagicCon I was at. And I'll probably do it again next time around. All right, let's battle. Alrighty, opening hand does not have a mana source, which is going to come up. We are relatively mana source light in this deck. Am I on the play? I am on the play. Underground Sea, Dark Ritual, Thoughtseize myself, Animate Dead, Colossal Grave-Reaver. I didn't come here to not send it. Get rid of Dark Ritual. So, land drop. Dark Ritual. Thoughtseize myself. Colossal Grave-Reaver to graveyard. Animate Dead on Colossal Grave-Reaver. Oh yeah, buddy. Alright. Don't do me dirty, dragon. Ow. I mean, whatever. We still put a 6/6 into play on turn 1. That's respectable. And it does have flying. It's a dragon. So, basic plain swords to plowshares. This might be the pause of someone who is considering just conceding now to not show me information. Nope, we are playing Magic. 19. It is an Elvish Reclaimer. Oh man, we are 1 card short of hitting another Colossal Grave-Reaver, and they do stack. Send in for 6, do the trigger. Oh yeah. That's a Grizzlebrand. Yeah. Alright, so my opponent is on some land-based nonsense. So what does that mean for my sideboarding? Do I get to 3 mana reliably enough to show and tell? I'm gonna hope so. Bojuka Bog on a stick makes reanimating slightly less reliable. This is so much less free without Entomb. Go down like 2 unmarked graves, 2 unmasks. Maybe go down some exhumes and keep some ways to put in there. This is where I don't have the nuance of experience of messing with these ratios exactly. This hand does not accomplish anything. Easy mulligan. This hand produces a Grizzlebrand on turn 1. I think we can keep this one. Go back 1 Thoughtseize. Savannah. Sylvan Safekeeper. You've got it. So land drop. Fetch. I'm just going to get something that can't be wastelanded here. Yeah. I don't know why this is sitting on the stack for so long. I hope it does not indicate Mindbreak Trap. This is my second spell, so that doesn't make sense. I don't think I take the time to Thoughtseize. There's Show and Tell. There's Grizzlebrand. One gets a land drop. I will draw immediately. I have things like Unmask. Do I go again? I think I will go again. I only have 2 Lotus Petals to hit to kick off Dark Rituals. But I would like to discard a giant creature. Okay, so in all of that, I missed any Unmasks or the extra 2 Lotus Petals. Did I board out a couple Unmasks? No, I did not. Okay. Let's get rid of Reanimate. Put an Atraxa in graveyard. Get rid of you. Get rid of ETB tapped land. Get rid of you. I'll keep you. Get rid of you. Get rid of you. Get rid of you. Keep the land. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Get rid of you. And maybe get rid of the second Animate Dead and keep this second Dark Ritual there. That is a Swords. The Reanimate is online again. I'll take 1. There's a Green Sun or an Elvish Reclaimer. So I can Deceit my opponent here and see if that last card is randomly surgical. I think I just want to have black mana going into the second portion of my turn after I produce an Atraxa. I have 4 mana to work with. If I leave mana open, I can potentially end up with blue to bounce that. Okay. Although I guess Sylvan Safekeeper makes that harder. Animate Dead Atraxa. Atraxa triggers. I could unmask myself for a Colossal Grave-Reaver. So there's land, sorcery, creature, enchantment. Done. Yeah, let's unmask myself, junking one of these Animate Deads. I think a little Colossal Grave-Reaver luck is the easiest way to just win through a Merit Lage that is potentially coming, or a Caracas. This sort of spot is where I wish I just had Archon of Cruelty. Taking one of those 2 bodies off of the board is quite good. Then I use Deceit to bounce the other. Alright, Colossal Grave-Reaver, 2 graveyard. Land drop, Animate Dead on Colossal Grave-Reaver. Trigger. Hit another Colossal Grave-Reaver. So this triggers again. Nice. I will keep the Atraxa that does not have Animate Dead on it. So that trigger happens. Now, land, creature. Now, land, creature, sorcery. Done. Last Colossal Grave-Reaver trigger happens and doesn't do anything. And that was honestly pretty disgusting. I will probably just discard a show and tell here. Very, very big difference between Deceit costing mana and Grief being free. All right. There's the land from Flagstones. Might be something like a Tabernacle. It is. So I get to keep 2 of these. And get rid of the Atraxa. The Colossal Grave-Reavers potentially just make more bodies themselves. Let's see what happens on the attack. There's a swords on one of them. Send in, trigger, get Atraxa back. 'Tis a silly game, Magic the Gathering. Dark Ritual, Lotus Petal. We'll have 1, 3, 4 mana. It has 1 card in hand. We'll take a Reanimate from that. Take a Deceit from this. Opponent eats 6 damage. Land drop. Lotus Petal. Dark Ritual. Let's see what your last card is. Prismatic Ending. Sure. Then I will Reanimate. Reanimate a Deceit for a different body. No. Let's just go ahead and do this. My opponent doesn't have any cards left. I'll put another Colossal Grave-Reaver into play. Triggers. There's a Grizzlebrand. I could draw some cards. I think I'm good with my opponent having 0 cards in hand. So now my opponent's creatures are under the Tabernacle tax, which is extremely awkward. All right, Sylvan Safekeeper is going. Caracas. Sure. So I will go ahead and pay for Grizzlebrand and 2 Colossal Grave-Reavers. Let Atraxa go. Go to combat. Yeah. So this is obligatory. I gotta win next turn. Whee! I'll put a Deceit onto the battlefield. Oh yeah, it is obligatory. But then I will keep the one that is attacking. Am I getting an Atraxa here too? There's no one there. You are a creature. You are a creature. I think Magic Online has frozen. Yeah, I fully can't take any game actions. Yeah, I am fully frozen up and can't do anything. I've clicked every creature in my graveyard. Well, this sucks. A card that this league is built around might be bugged when multiple Colossal Grave-Reavers get involved. That is unfortunate. Okay, opening hand does not do anything with no mana. Second hand does not do anything. I will be mulliganing this as well. Third hand, this is 5 cards. So 3 mana, 4 mana, 5 mana really, but the 4 is what I care about. So I Deceit, take a card from my opponent, and then Animate Dead the Deceit. Alright, Deceit, here's your chance. Redeem ye old Magic Online bug. So evoke a Deceit. Crop rotation, Elvish Reclaimer. Don't care about Bojuka Bog. It's crop rotation with Badgermole Cub, which is sweet, or Elvish Reclaimer with not that much pressure. I'm going to take Elvish Reclaimer. Then I go to Graveyard, Dark Ritual, Animate Dead a Deceit. It is only a 4-power creature. We'll take what we can get on a mulligan to 5, though. No Reclaimer, no Bojuka Bog. Mox Diamond number 2. Discarding the Heath. Talon Gates, sure. An opponent can Badger Mulcub the Talon Gates to potentially phase out my Deceit again later. It looks like they're just going to do it now. Nope. Yeah. So they're just going to block and then Crop Rot. And Badger Mulcub will bring that land back. Phasing out Deceit. See what they get. That's kind of what I expected. Don't know that there's a strong reason to wasteland me now. They probably end up doing it on their next turn. Lol, what a draw. Alright, I will take 2. I'm gonna end up losing my Deceit here. Basic land is 1 too late. My opponent is strongly favored from here, even though we are both top decking. A bunch of my current top decks, like the reanimation stuff, aren't particularly strong, either because I don't have 2 mana. Once Upon a Time's fine. Or because I don't have the best targets in Graveyard. Thespian Stage, sure. Another Deceit's not great. Unmask, not good here either, obviously. I'm taking 2 at a time to Badger Mulcub. Outland Liberator is just doubling the clock. So there's a Reanimate. I guess I'm reanimating a Deceit. I go to 8. I stopped taking the chip damage on the ground. But this is not enough to be attacking, especially considering my current life total. There's a Green Sun or Reclaimer. The Tabernacle is going to eat up the mana on both sides here. That's not fantastic. Yeah, none of my cards do anything right now, which means that this does transform when we get to my opponent's turn. Ooh, Swords is very good. I just die the following turn. Yeah. Alright, I am disappointed by the loss to the Magic Online bug there. You can decide whether or not you want to call that one a win. GG's. I am on the play. I could surveil land, hit a creature, and then produce a creature on turn 1. I think that is less good than just mulliganing this hand. So on turn 1, I have 4 mana. Unmarked Grave. I don't have a Reanimate effect. Unfortunate. Let's go to 5. Turn 1 Swamp Thoughtseize. Turn 2 work towards this stuff. Alright, I'm unhappy, but I don't think I'm supposed to go to 4. So let's see what's going on over there. Oh, no. I will take Katara. I'm not beating that card with double Spell Pierce. So that's a good card. I wonder if I am casting Animate Dead on Katara. Oh, my opponent's got fucking double Dismember. Life's terrible. Yeah. Feels like I'm dead. Deceit is not feeling great here in this specific spot. I can continue to do multiple spells to attempt to take 1 card out of my opponent's hand. That doesn't feel great. I think I'm just in this loop of Tamiyo attacks, my opponent holds up 1 or more Spell Pierces, and then they crack a clue at the end of turn. And my land count is low, so I'm not super likely to hit a land. Alright. Tamiyo becomes Planeswalker, which can rebuy these Spell Pierces. Tamiyo to 4. Then there is a blue land. What do you... And a Katara. Well... Alright, there is a land. I guess I'm technically playing Magic the Gathering. And it just feels bad. I'm just going to play this so that Deceit and friends can't be dazed. Opponent does have a Force, which they can rebuy with Tamiyo. Katara's going to start doing the Katara thing. And there's still going to be a Spell Pierce left over. Ugh. I think I'm unhappy, but it's still possible for me to win. I think it is extremely unlikely. So now Katara triggers on attack, discarding 1 of those Dismembers from before. Tamiyo snatches up Force of Will again. Yep. So I will attempt Deceit. That is a daze purely for the Katara thing. Yes, I pay. I know my opponent has a Spell Pierce right now, so I shouldn't Dark Ritual. It is another daze. At which point there's 3 counters for this. I don't think I'm gonna... There's also the clue and a consider. I guess there's timelines where my opponent doesn't end up with two clues at the same, sorry, two counterspells at the same time. I think my next turn is my last possible turn where I could do something meaningful. Otherwise, the Tamiyo, wow, Chrome Box even, printing a Tamiyo, so that's just hardcast Force of Will. So I can work hard to Animate Dead on a Deceit and lose it to Dismember. I think I'm out of here. GG. How do I want to board here? I think when I'm on the play, I am just going to try to force the same strategy. I have 8 discard spells to attempt to punch a hole. Dismember covering Deceit and therefore also accidentally covering Dauthi Voidwalker feels very awkward. And I don't think I want to go up to Show and Tell against the Daze Spell Pierce deck when I am so light on land. No. This doesn't even do the thing. Or no, it does do the thing on turn 1, right? So 3 mana, 5 mana. I can produce a 4-power creature on turn 1 that loses to Dismembers that my opponent is probably still going to have. I think I am just saying okay, and I'm unhappy about it. Let's play some mana. Deceit. See what's going on over there. Yeah, so I will take the Dismember that kills Deceit. And I will Dark Ritual. I guess I could have taken Quantum Riddler as well and attempt to draw out of my situation better. That's a reasonable line, but I only get one. Well, it would really be 2 additional cards out of Quantum Riddler. As it comes in, I draw a card that becomes 2 cards, and then I probably end up with a bunch of stuff stuck in my hand. I'm not actually sure if the Quantum Riddler line is better. There's Chrome Mox, Dunking Murktide. Oh, we're going up to 3 mana immediately. Force of Will, Cameo, and Quantum Riddler. Alright, yeah, that is the 3rd card per turn, because my opponent goes down with the Chrome Moxen. So this is annoying. I have to send it Tamiyo. Tamiyo takes 3. I hopefully can kill Tamiyo next turn. Let's unmask. Gut Shot. Okay. Don't know if I understand Gut Shot. Like, are there otters in there too? Alright. I'm gonna move on with my life. That was miserable. GG's. Alright, so on turn 1, I unmask, pitching a Grave-Reaver, target myself, take another Grave-Reaver, and reanimate it. That's fine. White mana means Swords to Plowshares, which I'm not the biggest fan of. I might just discard a Grave-Reaver to hand size here, so that I can use an unmask on my opponent next turn. Yeah. Second land drop. Brainstorm's fine. I think I'm into this, unmask, target you. So I take Force of Will and I naturally play around Daze. That's fine. So reanimate on a Grave-Reaver. I'm going to do this like this. Grave-Reaver hits play, misses. I'm now going to Surveil land and attempt to hit a creature. Sicko shit right there. So I will always take a Lotus Petal. I'll always take an Animate Dead. I'm interested in Deceit for creature or sorcery. Exhum's not doing me any favors right now. I will probably just take a Thoughtseize. And I don't think I clicked a land yet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Opponent fetches. I will discard a Colossal Grave-Reaver to hand size. Know that I have a Daze to play around. There's a Ponder. My opponent is taking 14 on the attack. Very fast shuffle. Wasteland's fine. Go to Punchies. Send on in. Grave-Reaver trigger. Miss. So there's 14. There's Swamp. There's Lotus Petal. Here is a Thoughtseize targeting you. That is Daze proof. I will take the Teferi that could bounce one of my creatures. And that'll be turn. All right, GG. I'm finding that these copies of Deceit are just getting stuck in my hand for being slow. All right, what is my plan in terms of overall strategy? Colossal Grave-Reavers are slightly worse versus just random spot removal. I don't know that I also want to add Douthies to the deck. It might just be that I'm shipping the Game 1 deck right back, not anticipating my opponent having a ton of graveyard hate. Unmask, pitch Deceit, target you. If it works and I draw any black card... No. If that works, I unmask, pitch Dark Ritual, discard Grizzlebrand, Reanimate on turn 1. And if it doesn't work, we wiggle our butts in the chair and settle down for a longer game. I think I do Dark Ritual as the first pitch. Unmask, target you. Oh my god. My kingdom for Cabal Therapy. I'm gonna take a Brainstorm. I don't want my opponent to be able to hide those Force of Wills. We're gonna play a long game here, which I don't think is favorable for me. There's a new land drop. There's a basic land. I will just evoke Deceit here. Take the first Force of Will. So now my opponent, unless they draw a blue card, effectively only has one Force of Will effect, which is not too bad. And I can potentially reanimate the sad 5/5 as my way to win if my opponent doesn't draw anything else. All right, I think my plan is attempt to bait with Animate Dead on sad 5/5. Did not successfully bait. I'll call this good here. And then maybe we'll find a way to get this Grizzlebrand into play later. Maybe I Surveil. 4th mana means Unmask becomes hard castable. Lotus Petal. Same thing, but worse. So yeah. 14. I think I'm waiting. The awkward thing about waiting is that Force of Will becomes hard castable now. Exhume is not exciting here. 10. I think I'm still not casting spells. Every turn that I have my opponent, not make meaningful headway in terms of the board is fine. Wasteland's annoying. That gets me further away from hard casting and unmask. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Wait a couple turns. Hard discard Grizzlebrand to hand size. Test of patience. No plays from my opponent. Yeah, I will straight up wait another turn. I'm under no pressure. Yeah, no pressure still. I will discard a Grizzlebrand to hand size. And then things are going to get more interesting. Let's start here. Oh, my opponent effectively has 2 counter spells. I will take the Force of Negation. Now I unmask, target you, pitch maybe a Reanimate. I take a Force of Will. Oh no, I didn't want to pitch a Reanimate. Wanted to pitch Exhume there. It's going to slow me down by a turn. Whoops. That's probably fine in the grand scheme of things. So I cast Exhume and it gets countered, but I could have a guaranteed Grizzlebrand this turn. Alright. So hopefully my opponent doesn't draw a counterspell and punish me. Thinking about my life total, not thinking about my mana. There's a Tamiyo. That's fine. I mean, it's good, obviously. So I reanimate a Grizzlebrand. I draw 7. Go to 6. There's a land drop. There's a Dark Ritual. There's an unmarked grave, which has to get Grave-Reaver. Then I animate Dead. The Grave-Reaver immediately. Trigger. I get a new Grizzlebrand. We'll keep the new Grizzlebrand. Old Grizzlebrand already did its job. And then I can cast an unmarked grave to get another Colossal Grave-Reaver next turn, which is kind of cool. But I could have attacked with Grizzlebrand once already. So land drop, fetching. It says Tamiyo sending in. I'll block with both creatures. Tamiyo Clue, Swords on Grizzlebrand, kill Tamiyo, there's a Murktide Regent, which is an 8/8. So I will unmarked grave for a new Colossal Grave-Reaver, which puts it directly into play. Cool. Now, next turn, I can just attack for lethal through that Murktide Regent. I guess I can play out this Lotus Petal. Alright, that's just passing the turn. I'll fetch. Don't have the other Surveil land still. That's a fine use of my mana. If there's Trixies, I want to see them now. There's a Felia. I imagine on average I hit one creature here, right? I imagine on average I hit a creature here. We're going in. Yeah. I will take an Atraxa. I will get a creature, an instant, a sorcery, an artifact, a land, Grave Reaver trigger for Deceit, then other Grave Reaver gets me a Grizzlebrand. Cool. And we win that one 2-0. So if you count this first one with the bug as a win, we're 2-1 in the league. GG's. All right. Opening hand goes land, Dark Ritual, Lotus Petal, 4 mana, 2 mana Deceit, 1 mana Thoughtseize, 1 mana Reanimate. Okay. I guess I can Thoughtseize my opponent first in case they are playing a giant creature deck. What's going on over there? I take a Swords to Plowshares is what's going on over there. So, Lotus Petal, Dark Ritual, Deceit. I will take the Bowmasters. That provides 2 blocks here. Yeah. Evoke happens. I reanimate Deceit. I have made a 5/5 on turn 1 at the cost of 8 of my life. I am not convinced that I am going to win this game. I think it is relatively easy. No. For my opponent to play 2 drops that can swing this game hard enough. Or something like Guide of Souls into Ocelot Pride. I don't think I unmask here. I know 3 of the 4 cards. I draw another black card. I can potentially get this Atraxa into my own graveyard. I don't know, maybe anything that gives a hiccup is fine. If my opponent's got a 2-drop in hand right now, the payoff is high. That was not the case. Badlands. Fuck. So now I can't attack anymore. If I attack, my opponent gets a Planeswalker that produces 1 creature every turn. Thanks, I hate it. Deceit not having evasion is brutal. Exhume, not a particularly good card right now either. Yeah, I think I just lose after producing Deceit on turn 1. Alright, the Cabal Therapy also accomplishes this. So with the red bodies here, this Planeswalker domes me for a lot of damage quickly, and also can just get to the point where it kills Deceit. So I'm at 9 already, and I can't. So I attack the Planeswalker. My opponent could block with a cat. They attack me back for 4, deal 3 more at my face. Right back in the same position. I think I end up taking more damage if I attack. I don't think I am beating this. Let's move on to the next one. I think I just need to mulligan Deceit starts. I don't think it's reasonable. Alright, what's Mardu Energy playing as Graveyard Hate these days? I should be anticipating Leyline. And there could be other things like Containment Priest as well. I think I'm gonna do this. Maybe that's wrong. Maybe I keep Deceit to bounce Leyline. So this hand does the thing on turn 1 if my opponent does not keep a Leyline. And then loses if they do have Leyline. So just don't have it, please. Oh my god, they just didn't have it. Okay, so I can also unmask them, right? Unmask, pitch a black card. Oh fuck, that was an unmarked grave, not a reanimation effect. This hand's terrible. I'm so unused to playing with unmarked grave that my brain went, that's an Exhume. 1 and a black. Or an Animate Dead. Okay, this was dumb. See what's going on over there. I see. So opponent kept on the strength of Caracas. Taking a Ajani here. And I'm just going to pass. So my opponent drops a cat. I will pass the turn right back. My opponent gets Ocelot Prides going. I think I just lose this one for thinking I had a different card in my hand than I did, which I think is the second time I have done that with Unmarked Grave, so I need to be more careful with that. We're on our way to hard casting a Grizzlebrand, which is, like, not the best because Caracas, also Bowmaster. I can remember you have an Ajani. I think I will just concede if I miss this draw. The cats are everywhere. Alright, and I did. Okay, I mean, that's on me. I misread one of my cards. Gotta get used to that art. GG. Alright, so unmask, target myself, have 2 mana, take Grizzlebrand with unmask, Animate Dead, Grizzlebrand. Okay. I think I'm gonna unmask myself pitching the other unmask. So Grizzlebrand successfully goes to yard. I think I'll grab a basic here. Animate Dead on Grizzlebrand. That's an endurance. So I'm glad I kept Unmarked Grave. That Quarian Ranger to exile before? Yes. My Animate Dead is effectively countered. So I need a land to Unmarked Grave, and then I will need a reanimation effect. I don't feel great about my chances of winning. My opponent was waiting to pay costs on something. I wonder if they have something like Once Upon a Time that they just attempted to cast. I just wait? I think I just wait. Oh, I guess there's discard to think about. Next land drop. That's a green sun. Do you have the raccoon thing? No, it is Badgermaw Cub. So it's not Graveyard Hate. That's the good news. Eluded Delta. Now that I can naturally go 2 mana for a top decked thingy, I think I just play this. Then potentially have Dark Ritual to cast an unmask or something. I don't know, maybe I should be trying to do it all in one burst. This just also takes 1 Colossal Grave-Reaver out of my deck so I don't draw it, which is of minimal importance with 53 cards in libraries still, but I guess technically counts for something. Once Upon a Time. I was right on that read earlier. Oh, Grist is awful. Grist means Colossal Grave-Reaver can't get an attack without dying. Unhappy about that. I'm at 15. There's a green sun. Is there another endurance? There is another endurance. We'll see if I get punished for not trying to do everything in one burst there. No. So I can Dark Ritual, unmask, take the Grist. I'm taking 6 on the crackback already. I think I'm dead. Multiple endurances to think about is kind of rough. I think I'm no longer a believer in Deceit. It's very slow as a counter, as a discard spell in this matchup. This league was not a good showing for Deceit. I admittedly put it into play a few times. Boy, that's awkward. I can Thoughtseize myself to get Atraxa into yard, but then I can't Thoughtseize my opponent to check for endurance. I think I can do better than this. This one is not better. Yikes. At the point that I am on 5 cards, is the plan just hope they don't have it? The land, Thoughtseize myself, take Grave-Reaver, have land, and Animate Dead for the following turn. Yeah, I think it is. We attempted to fish for better and failed. C'est la vie. Alright. Thoughtseize myself, take the Grave-Reaver. It is Bojuka Bog. Also something not impacted by Deceit. YOLO! I know. In my heart of hearts, there's a creature on top of my library right now. See? I told you. You weren't a believer there. I don't know what you're doing. Animate Dead. Colossal Grave-Reaver. Show me the endurance. Endurance and Bojuka Bog in opening hand. Yeah! Alright. That's just the sort of day it is. Give my speech on friendship and Heart of the Cards. Get betrayed by an elemental incarnation that is better than my elemental incarnation. Ignoble Hierarch comes down. I mean, I can do that. I don't think that wins. Let's hold Animate Dead, see if we can do something more busted with it. Wooded Foothills. Fetching. There's a Grist. Yeah, this seems bad. Alright. So we get a land drop into another Colossal Grave-Reaver And Colossal Grave-Reaver comes with friends. That's probably how I win from here. Grist makes another friend. This is 4 mana. This is natural order territory. I think at this point I stop pretending like I can win. Yeah, like there's a cradle into a hoof for next turn with Grist to fuel that there. Yeah, okay. I mean, I can see the writing on the wall now. So if we count that first one as a win, that is still only a 2-3 league, and in our rounds that were losses, they were losses where we didn't pick up a win. I'm going to admit that one of those I punted because I mistook one of my cards, but I don't think this deck was good. GG's. Let's go ahead and wrap this one up here. Overall thoughts on the deck list. Deceit being put into play as a creature was not enough to generate a win versus just opposing threats versus chump blockers versus dismember. This wasn't good enough to win. In this specific shell, it had the upside of being a body that you can hit with Colossal Grave-Reaver, and the secondary upside of being something that you could technically tutor for with Unmarked Grave if for some reason all your Colossal Grave-Reavers are gone. And I hedged extra blue mana into the deck to attempt to make the bounce more relevant. I never bounced anything with Deceit in the entire league. Deceit frequently got stuck in my hand. I think there's just too many strikes against it. Maybe you can play a few more lands. Maybe if you're playing blue-black Reanimator, it makes sense as a singleton or something. If you're not going like turbo like this one is, but you're going to like really slow things down. Maybe Deceit is your Brazen Borrower for that deck. But as far as it looks in this turbo version, I was not a fan. Sideboard was fine. I mean, I know that I only used the show and tells today of the cards in the sideboard, but that doesn't necessarily mean that I am disappointed with the cards that I registered there. Alright, if you have any thoughts about how we could maybe use Deceit better in the future, feel free to go ahead and throw those in the comments, but I think I'm going to call it a day here. See ya!